This phase of the build that I'm going to show you guys spanned for over 3 months of very hard work. And it all took place at the same time while we were also finishing other phases. It started back in May, right before the summer, and as you can see here, we were still working on the blocking structure. I took advantage of a few weekends that I was alone at the building site to tackle this project, since it needed to be done by the time we finished the structure. The first step was to grind all the concrete that was sticking out. The idea was to make a smooth surface. I will explain why in a minute. We built the foundation a while ago, and it has gotten very dirty, so the next step was to give it a proper clean and remove all the dust and mud that had accumulated all over the place. As you can see here, this is now smooth and very clean. The second task was to repair all the small holes that the concrete had. The connection between the two separate pores that we did, between the floor and the foundation, had some areas where we did not vibrate it well enough, simply because we just didn't have enough time during the pour day. But no worries, because I can fix them now. To fix holes on dry concrete, you need to use a special concrete mix, since normal mixes will not adhere to dry concrete, and the spot that you fix will come right off once they dry. But this special mix bonds to original concrete with no issues.
We have a step here, as you can see, because when I built the concrete slab, the floor that is here on top of the foundation, I was able to be more accurate than with the foundation. I did adjust the location of the slab on top of the foundation, and as you can see, there is like half an inch, 1 centimeter and a half or so off in here. And since I'm putting a waterproofing membrane here, if we put a waterproofing membrane with this step and then we push it, it will break. So you need to make the whole thing even. So when the membrane goes up, it goes 45 degrees and up. It doesn't have like a sharp corner.
I went around the building, making sure to fill all the holes and make all the smooth connections. I was very sick that week, so I tried staying always in the shade, because it was very hot. I also took a nap on the concrete, waiting for the shade to arrive to the other side of the building, but I did not film myself doing that, because if I film myself sleeping, it means that I'm not really sleeping. Here is how it looked the next day, with all the holes fixed. It had nothing major, but now it is in much better shape for the next task. This next task started with me swiping all the dust of the foundation. Next, I prepared all I needed to apply a first coat of asphaltic primer around the whole foundation. This first coat that I'm applying is just a primer. It will seal most of the pores of the concrete and make it more waterproof. But it is really just a coat that you apply in order to be able to weld an actual membrane, since you cannot weld a membrane directly to the bare concrete. Painting the whole thing took me about a day of work, but I'm only a few seconds in this video. Alright, it's been very hot today, like 40 degrees or so. So I went back to the cabin like a couple of hours ago, had lunch, and came back. Now it's 6 p.m. It's like 32, 33, so it's cool enough. This exterior area, as you can see, wasn't polished. It was on purpose. We didn't polish it because we knew that we were going to clad it with a stone, and this area is actually sloping down at like 5%, 3%. Before we applying the stone, I think we're gonna waterproof the whole thing, so it's waterproof below the stone. And here what I'm doing now is seeing where I'm gonna be cutting the stone. I know that I can carry around 100 kilograms. I don't think I'm comfortable bringing a piece bigger than 100 kilograms. It's just a lot of weight, even for handling it. It's kind of complicated. What I'm gonna be doing is just see where I want to cut the stone. For example, in the middle of this window, I will have a line, and then I will have a line with the finish of this wall, and then I will see where I need to cut another one. Maybe I can cut another one here. I will do the lines that I like and see how much that area weighs. I know the weight because I know the density of the marble that we're going to be using. It's 2.83 grams per cubic centimeter. So if I know the thickness of the stone, which is going to be 2 centimeters, and I know the area, I know the volume, and if I know the density of the material, which is 2.83 grams per cubic centimeter, then I can do the math and see, I multiply basically the volume by the density and you get the weight. So I'm going to be seeing how much each piece weight, and if everything is around the range of 100 kilograms, I will do it that way. If it's way above that, then I will need to do some adjustments. Alright, now I was ready for the next task, but I needed a new tool in order to do it faster and more efficiently. This is my first time using a concrete mixer, and I don't understand why I did not buy one earlier. It makes the process much faster and the mix comes out much nicer. Basically what I'm trying to do is to create a concrete base around the whole house, so the waterproofing membrane has a solid base to sit on. In this first attempt, I dumped the whole cart at once and quickly realized that doing it that way, I will not have enough material to finish it all. So moving forward, I decided to be more mindful with the quantities and lay the concrete by hand. I also started mixing 3 bags at once instead of just one, now that I was used to how the machine worked. The concrete has to be mixing for like 5 minutes, and while it is being mixed, instead of just sitting around, I used the time to prepare the next ground, making the slope to wherever the direction I wanted and flattening it as best as possible. I worked until the very end of the day and was able to do almost a full side of the house, which was only possible thanks to having the mixer. Mixing it by hand, it would have taken me much longer. Next day I already knew what I was doing. I did not need to figure anything out and was already very good at this task. It kinda always happens the same to me. The first day I'm trying to do something new, I am always struggling to self-learn how to do it, and by the end of the task I have already become very efficient at it. Unfortunately, I will most likely never be doing this ever again in my life, so by the time I get good at it, I don't need to do it anymore. I just finished filling this whole area with gravel, preparing the slopes so the water naturally runs off away from the building. From this point to the right, the water will go this way. And from this point, the water will evacuate to this other side. This whole thing that I'm doing will be a waste of time if I don't give the water an actual way out. It sounds very basic, but you will be surprised of how many building sites I have seen where they just put a drain pipe around the building and fill it with gravel, without giving the water an actual escape. So what they are really doing is just holding the water around the foundation, which is exactly what you want to avoid in the first place. To release that water, you need to dig a trench, so I asked the original volunteer to come help me with it. I will need to connect the drain pipe that will be around the building with a big pipe that I will install in this trench shortly, and I wanted that connection to be accessible in case I need to clean it in the future, and for that I use this prefabricated concrete box. Ay, fucker. After that showcase of raw strength that I just made, I decided to hold my muscles this time and be more careful, since I only had one box left. I made sure that the box was sitting properly leveled and secured with more concrete. The next day I brought this big pipe and installed it in its place. I needed to connect it to the concrete box. Finally, the type of precision job that I like doing. Then I covered the whole trench and passed back and forth with the volunteer to make sure that the ground was well compacted. Right now this pipe will be just left open from the end, but in the future we will connect it to a water storage system, so we can hold all the rainwater to use for our needs. Now that I'm seeing all of these clips, I realize the amount of work I put during these months in order to get all this done. I have weeks and weeks of footage of me showing up and getting at it day after day without thinking too much, just showing up and trying to get a bit of progress each day. This was already the middle of the summer and my life pretty much consisted in waking up early, going for my run, taking a shower, having a solid breakfast and going to the building site where I will spend my day trying to work in the shade for as long as possible, as it was around 40 degrees. Then go back home at the end of the day, get in the pool with Eugenia to cool off, and hopefully the heat will have been gone by then, so we will have dinner and go to sleep. Here I'm giving the final coat of asphaltic paint. Now that the MGO boards were installed and that all the exterior cladding is finished, I'm also painting the first 30 centimeters of the walls, as you can see here, and also painted the concrete base I just built, as I plan on attaching the membrane to it. Here is how it came out. So much work for something that I will be hidden, and it does not even look that great.
Over the past few months, I have been studying woodworking at night as I get ready to build the cabinetry of the house and the kitchen. During my research, I found an amazing online resource, Woodworkers Guild of America, which is today's video sponsor. Woodworkers Guild of America is your go-to online resource for woodworking instructions, ideas, and information. I have focused on watching all their cabinet making videos, especially the George Vondriska ones. It has shown me how to efficiently design cabinets from scratch, all the way to the most advanced joinery and finishing techniques, which I will be implementing in the house cabinetry in a few months. As a member, you will have access to Woodworkers Guild of America live streaming tutorials and Q&As, where their expert instructors share their tips, answer questions, and engage with the community in real time. And they're always creating new premium videos. You can also connect with fellow woodworkers like me to ask questions, share ideas, and stay inspired. The first 1,000 of you to click in the link in the description box will get a full year of a premium membership to Woodworkers Guild of America for only $1.49.
Alright, all that work that I showed was just so we could get to this point and do a proper solid job. But for that I needed this tool, and also needed to learn how to use it, because I had never used this tool before and also never done this job before. This is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm a bit nervous about the fire and all, but let's see. Seems that it works, so let's start. The plan is to waterproof the whole foundation, along with the first around 25 centimeters of the exterior walls, and also waterproof over the floor I just built, so when the rainwater gets to the building, there is no way humidity could make it into it. I cut strips of the length that I needed, and then Lolita will step all over them to make sure that they are properly ready, and then I will apply heat with a flamethrower and start attaching it little by little. I'd quickly learned that if you try doing too much at once, it will not adhere, so I started doing it by small sections. heating up around 30 centimeters, gluing it to the support, and then heating it up again and keep going until the whole thing was applied. Alright guys, I'm back from the cabin. I went like around 4 p.m. to get some cover from the heat. Today it's been extremely hot, maybe like, I don't know, but we could have hit easily 40 degrees, and working with the torch hasn't been very easy. I was able to get up to here, so I did like probably 12 meters or so, and I think the whole perimeter is like 70 meters. So it's gonna take a few days to get all this done. I've been working only on the shaded side of the house. If I work in the morning, I work on this side, which is on shade. In the afternoon I come back, and I come after lunch. And now in shade here, and the temperature difference is like, it's like getting in the pool, man. The same feeling. So since it's very hot on that side with the sun, I'm gonna come over and start on this small side of the house, and that's the goal for today. I'm just gonna try to finish this side, and tomorrow I will continue with the long side during the day, and in the afternoon I will come back and start on this shaded area. I think I know exactly what I need to cut, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut all the waterproofing membrane, and you know, have everything stocked there, and just apply all of them at the same time. It's gonna be, it looks good, man. It looks very good. I'm probably gonna say this in the voiceover anyways, but the idea of waterproofing this is just to, you know, we're gonna be filling with gravel or with dirt up to pretty much the horizontal line of the house. Let me explain myself. We're gonna be filling with gravel pretty much up to here, lower edge of this step. The idea is to install a drainage pipe with some felt around it, so it doesn't get clogged all around, and any water that hits here goes in this direction in the pipe, and the foundation is waterproof with the layer of waterproofing membrane that I just installed. And since I was doing that already, I decided to extend the membrane over the wall, so there is no way no water gets to the wall. The price difference of extending the waterproofing membrane over the wall or not doing it is just a matter of a few euros, you know, because the membrane is cheap. And that's the idea. I spoke with Felipe from Blocken a long time ago, and since pretty much the beginning of the project, and we came up with this solution. Otherwise the foundation, once everything is filled, would have been in contact with the ground, and I didn't like the idea of doing that. Some people just paint it like this. You see this in a lot of you see this finish in a lot of buildings, just with the paint, just with the asphaltic paint. But I don't think it's enough. Actually, the brand recommends to not to just leave a couple of coats of the paint. You need to actually put a membrane. It's better doing it now properly than just skip this step and have more progress, and later on within the years have issues. I'm not in a rush, so I'm going to properly do this for the next few days. Worst part is that I am in the middle of a heat wave, working with a open flame torch, but working with the shaded areas, it's been bearable. So just gonna push it through it and try to get it done all in the next few days. Alright guys, I just finished waterproofing the whole thing. It took me much longer than I expected, probably like a week or so. It's been very hot, so the last couple of days I didn't even film because it was so hot that the camera was shutting down the whole time. So I finished the whole south side under the sun without filming, and now I need to... I wasn't planning to do what I'm gonna do next because I thought it was gonna be fine, but where the waterproofing membrane goes up, I don't have a solid place to stick it together with the next one. It's this connection over here, as you can see. This one is sealed, and for example that one is a bit open over there. So I'm just gonna go over and cover the whole thing with a strip like that. Alright, it's a couple of days later. I ran out of gas on Sunday. Today is Tuesday, and yesterday I went to the city to buy gas, and when I came back it was like 3 p.m. and it was super hot and I couldn't drag myself to the heat, so I stayed working in the computer for the rest of the day. So today I'm gonna continue. On Sunday I was able to finish up to this corner, and now I'm gonna continue all around the perimeter. All right, the sun is catching me on this side, but I want to finish this little corner before I move to the next section. So I finish this whole thing completely, and so very quickly I'm gonna show you how I'm doing this, because you know this is very stiff, as you can see. It doesn't really bend very easily, and also when you heat it up, it is completely the opposite. It becomes very loose. So what I'm doing, or what I have been doing, is pre-bend the whole thing exactly how I want it. In this case, it's just in the middle, actually pushing, so it keeps that shape. And now like this, I can push it all the way to align to the wall. And I'm overlapping here like 10, 20 centimeters, depends on the section that I just cut. In this case, it's like 25 or 30. Bending it like this, stays like this. I'm gonna start heating it up, and then I'm gonna take my trusty brick. You know, once it's heated up, I will heat up, you know, like a good section, like 1.5 meters or so. I will raise it up, glue it to the wall, but if I leave it like this and it's still hot, the membrane will come down. So what I'm doing, I'm putting a brick like this, holding it so I can keep going, and then I'll fix the whole thing once I finish. But better than say it, I'm gonna show you. I heat it up until I see that the black face actually opens up. It's very intuitive once you do it for a couple of times, but if you do it too much, then if you heat it up too much, then it doesn't stick, so you need to wait for it to cool down. But once you get the point, the actual nice spot of heating it up, then it actually adheres very easily, as you can see. And now I apply more heat and finish it off. Here on the edge, I like to actually close the whole thing, so I apply heat and then I close the whole thing, so it's completely sealed and no water can go through it. But at this point, this is the second layer, so and water won't get up to this height, because I'm gonna be putting drain pipe over here, and the drain pipe will stay here, so no water will never go higher than this. But just in case, you know, the drain pipe clogs or whatever, because it can happen. And I'll go to this edge and finish it off also. In this corner, we just cut the corner in the opposite direction that I cut the other layer, and then heat it up and finish it off. Alright, and now the vertical part is properly attached to the wall and completely sealed. No water can go in anywhere over here. And now what I'm gonna do, the same, but I just lift the bottom and I put my brick over here holding the membrane, and I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna just heat it up, leave the brick there while I heat it up, remove the brick and seal it, but I'm gonna show you. it comes out super clean, like no wrinkles or anything. So I figured this one out the other day by the middle of the day, and since then I've been doing it like that. So the first few meters were a little bit uglier, and those were the ones, unfortunately, the ones that I filmed, because I normally like to film at the beginning while I figure things out, just because, I don't know, that's how I do it. But now that it's 2 days later, I know exactly what I'm doing, and the membrane is installed a little bit better now. And now I do the same over here. Just hold the whole thing up with a brick. Oh. You might be thinking, what is this guy doing now? Well, I am preparing this wall and floor to waterproof it with a special membrane. This was already September, and I was trying to get all ready for the doors and windows. The problem is that we did such a great job finishing the concrete that it's way too polished for the glue to adhere, as the glue needs to bond to the pores of the concrete, and our concrete is pretty much all sealed, so I needed to roughen up the area where I planned on gluing the membrane, and I also sanded the wall. Using the hand sander was taking too long, so I decided to use the angle grinder with a concrete disc and roughen up the area very gently. Then I cleaned up the dust. I cleaned myself. And this is what I'm going to be sealing. And yes, some of you are gonna hate me right now, but I also vacuum the floor and the walls. Not because I like wasting my time, but because the dust makes the glue not to adhere properly. So if I clean it properly, then I don't have that issue. This membrane is a special membrane that is used for underneath stones or tiles, and you can glue the stones or tiles directly to it. For example, it is used to waterproof showers below the tiles. You need to be very careful because they have two different ones. One is exclusively for indoor use, and this one, this yellow one, can be used also outdoors. Then I cut the membrane to its size and prepare the mix. And applying it is somewhat simple. The first step is to humidify the area. Then apply the glue. And very quickly install the membrane, as this glue dries very fast, especially with this heat. Here it is again. This time I'm going up the wall too, so I seal any possible humidity that can come from water stuck in this outdoor floor when it rains. Then later on, the exterior insulation that we are going to install on the exterior of the walls will cover that part of the membrane that you see on the floor, so it will be all hidden. This is how it came out. Alright guys, the last part that we need to do is this veranda here, this exterior covered area. We cannot apply the waterproofing membrane in direct sunlight because it gets really hot. It's probably like, I don't know, 40 degrees right now. Since the liquid that you use to glue the membrane dries very fast when it's hot, I decided to wait until it's a little bit cooler in this area. I'm gonna waterproof this whole thing and we will be ready to install all the stones, because the stones are gonna arrive tomorrow, so by the time that they arrive everything is ready for them. You see this, mess around here. I mean, it's not a mess, it's like little bumps in the concrete. Like for example, this is sticking up. It's kind of loose, but still is there. So if I leave it there, when I put them, I have, this dimension is very tight. I have 2.6 and 2.6, and each stone is 2. So I have 6 millimeters of room to play with, because there's gonna be one stone that comes over here in this step, and then another stone that will go over it on top of this other step. So I have 6 millimeters of room for each stone to play with, and if I have, bumps like these that are 3-4 millimeters, then I go down to only 2 or 1 millimeter tolerance, and I can get in trouble with that. Rather than not fixing it now and deal with the issue later, I rather just grind the whole thing and make sure that everything is kind of even. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to do everything like straight 100%, but at least, you know, everything that I can see. Alright guys, it's the next day. Yesterday I was able to finish waterproofing the whole thing, but the camera died and I got late as well and I didn't have time to go grab another battery, so I did it behind the scenes. I also ran out of the glue that you use to finish the whole thing, and for the corners I needed to use MS glue, just normal MS glue. It doesn't look pretty as you can see because I had a black one, but it's completely sealed and waterproof right now. That corner and that corner had a corner profile. I'm gonna show you right now, like this. So that way you make sure that the corner is waterproof. Normally you put it with the same glue that I use for the whole thing, but I didn't have more, so I just use black MS, and as you can see this is completely sealed. Now I'm gonna cover it because today is going to be like 42 degrees and this place gets sun the whole day, and I just don't want to, you know, damage the fabric or the glue with such a high temperature. I'm waiting for the cement to apply the stones over it, and the stones arrived yesterday. So as soon as I receive the cement, I will be installing the stones everywhere.